Oh, hi Mark! I didn't notice you there. As you see, I am planning for my newest wrestling game that will shock the nations across the world. It's going to be a very complex and entertaining video, the one that you're going to see. So sit down and enjoy this beautiful journey into the universe of my creation. Ok, puoi smettere. Good day everyone, and welcome to this devlog. The very first thing that I'm going to do right now is to apologize, both for the very corny intro that you just watched, and also for the probably just as corny video title that I'm going to give to this devlog, because I just wanted to give it something eye-catching, even though what you're watching right now might not match your expectations. Regardless, let's get down to business. Trauma Pro Wrestling is the direct successor of another game that I have released a couple of months ago, maybe even more by now, called Skull Fracture. Skull Fracture is like this 3D fighting game with tank controls, a variety of game modes, and a bunch of stuff that I thought was interesting enough to put in a game. Skull Fracture itself is the evolution of another game that I worked on a few years ago called Wrestling is Real. The big thing with Wrestling is Real is that despite being called that, it's not actually a wrestling game. It's more like a boxing game. You can punch and you can kick, which usually is not allowed in boxing, but not very wrestling-like. So with Trauma Pro Wrestling, that's what I want to fix. I want to make something more proper in a way. I'm sorry if the aesthetics of the game look a bit bare right now. I promise you that by the time the game comes out, it's going to look a lot fancier. For example, the background right here will be replaced by some sort of video that probably will depict a match or something like that. Anyway, this is the screen, as you can see, for the exhibition matches. We've got 5 game modes tested and fully functioning. You can set the difficulty of the AI, and you can do all other stuff that is commonplace in other wrestling games. For example, you can set if you have rope breaks or not. You can have cage matches. You can choose the size of the ring, or if the ropes are electrified or not. There is 6 unique arenas to choose from. 5 which have been created just for this game, and 1 that is imported from Skull Fracture but with some modifications. Right now you can't read this, but there is a text in full white here asking you how many objects you want and at which frequency you want them to appear. These are like objects that will spawn in the middle of the ring that will grant you a bonus or a malus depending on where the arrow goes. See, arrow up bonus, arrow down malus. The game is going to feature 25 characters as opposed to the 21 which were present in Skull Fracture. The sprites for these characters haven't been drawn yet, but in the next devlog they probably will be there by that point. There is also a slot for a created character which isn't selectable right now because the character editor hasn't been finished yet. But again, by the next devlog you will probably see it. It's going to be an improved version from another game that I've made called 30 Days to be the Best, which has a gameplay similar to the one of Skull Fracture, but more RPG oriented and with a tinge of horror to it. The sprites are drawn by Toastbot, which is the artist, of course, who worked also on Skull Fracture. These are all imported from that game. And They look real fancy. I really like them. So if you want to support the artist, remember that there is a link in the description to her Instagram. Anyway, let's start a match so that I can illustrate all the game mechanics. Alright, as you can see, if you have any familiarity with Skull Fracture, you might notice that there is no tank controls anymore. The players are locked against each other and they will move left and right depending on you know, where you click the arrows or the controller buttons or whatever it is. And you may also notice the fact that there is a referee in this match, which will do exactly what you would expect him to do. Each action that was present in Skull Fracture has been given more animations to make the characters feel more lively. Oh, you can hit the referee, by the way, I didn't mention that. Of course, when you hit the referee, he is going to not be able to give you a free count for a while. New actions have been implemented. This one, which is it should look like a lariat, but it really doesn't actually. Punches are all connected to a single button now, as opposed to being, you know, to having separate ones for left and right, as it used to be in Skull Fracture. The camera settings are very similar, they've been slightly improved. Of course, there is no first-person view because this is the local multiplayer, but when you're going to play single player, there is also going to be an option for that. You may have noticed that the life bar has three colors, one that is red, one that is pink, and one that is white. And when the life bar drops to pink, which it might take a while because I'm using a character with low attack and everything hasn't been fully balanced yet, but yeah, when it drops to that point, you will be able to pin your opponent when he is down. And when the life bar reaches the red part, that means that your pinning attempt will always be successful, so that the matches don't last forever. As you can see, when someone gets knocked down, they will automatically give you a kick to create some distance, so that you cannot spam pinning attempts over and over. The match mode that I'm working with right now is the last man standing, which doesn't work like your traditional last man standing because the characters aren't scripted to stay down for that long. Instead, you will get a point for each time that you knock someone down, and when you reach 10 points, that means that you win the match. Right now, gameplay wise, there isn't really much more to say about Trauma Pro Wrestling. As you can see here, there is an option to edit your character, which will be again presented in the next devlog. There is a career mode, which is close to being done but still not properly presentable. And here is a Booker mode, which will be... I don't know how WWE games do it right now. It's going to be something like a WWE Universe mode, I guess, where you can make the matches and see the results. It's going to be less of a sandbox thing and more of a managerial thing, where you have to keep track of all the budgets, all the contracts and stuff like that. It's very complex to code, so I hope that I have something presentable by the end of next month. Yeah, there isn't really much else to add right now. I hope you enjoyed the video and that the Trauma Pro Wrestling seems interesting to you. My next video will probably be a lot more interesting than the one that you're watching right now, so be sure to be on the lookout. And until then, ciao ciao!